This is called fake oppression and black privilege. There is no white privilege anymore. White privilege has been gone for a long time. It's black privilege now. This is proof. But we're tired of it.
Black privilege is getting worse by the year. And by worse, I mean they're getting more bold with their schemes and their actions. I do find it pretty funny, though, when you have those interviewers on the street. They go up to a bunch of black people. They're like, you got 100 fish, and 13 of the fish cause half of the problems. What do you do with those 13 fish? Almost every time the black people say get rid of the fish. Black people, you're lucky we don't have the same mentality of you. Otherwise, y'all'd be gone.
I love the blacks being like, oh, we're gonna get a race war. If there was a race war, you wouldn't win. Okay. First of all, you might have plenty of guns, but you don't know how to shoot them. You think this is how you shoot guns. You think this is how you shoot a pistol. That's not. I know you saw that in a movie and you thought it looked cool. And you saw your favorite fucking rapper doing that, but that's not how you aim and shoot a gun. The only reason blacks have not exterminated themselves in the hood, because black on black violence is insane and through the roof, is because they're such horrible shots. So you really think you're gonna beat a duck hunter who shoots ducks for a living, for fun, on his free time, and doesn't miss? Really?
As black people, and I'm calling out everybody black, we have to create our own black privilege. We have to. It's non-negotiable. What does that look like? I was on a plane sitting first class. There was a little girl walked by me, she had her backpack on. She was so adorable, and she just kept staring at me, and I said, you are so pretty. And she goes, right, she looked away. I said, no, you are so pretty. And then I heard her ask her mom, like, about me sitting up front, right? What that means. Her mom said, oh, that's first class. And she said, Mommy, why we can't sit here? They're having this quiet conversation.
Right.
They get in their seat. I told the stewardess, go get that little girl. She said, which one? The little girl that walked by me. She went and got the little girl. I said, listen, you have my seat if the mom's okay with it. The mom was like, absolutely. So I said, she has my seat. Whatever she wants, order it. But my point is, I created black privilege with that. We have to start to create that. White people only have white privilege because they privilege their people. We have to start seeing our black people and privilege them. Yeah. We have to do that. That is something I'm calling out every black person to do. If you got a penny or if you got $1 million, figure out once a day what black person you can privilege. I don't care if it's your neighbor or if it's a family member. Please do that.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching my videos from. Welcome back to my YouTube space. I'm so happy that you are here and I appreciate you being here every day. The fun thing the best thing you have to know that I love and I appreciate you because we are more united as black people and we are more learning about our history and we are more thinking about the motherland and thinking about our brothers across the ocean. Now, today's video, I'm going to talk about the white people. White people are raged that black people are getting better than them every day. And right now, they have started calling it something that it is black privilege. We have been having white privilege, but right now people are calling the betterness of black people as white privilege. They said that we were just playing victims, or they always say that we are playing victims. They say that we were lazy, entitled, always blaming others for our failures. Now, black people are rising every day. We are building businesses, we are dominating culture, we are reshaping politics, we are graduating in record numbers, we are holding degrees, we are educated, and suddenly they are mad. Am I right? They are mad, that's true. Suddenly they are calling it black privilege. And that's one thing I'm going to talk about it in this video. But before I go down on this video, I want you to watch these clips that I've featured here because for years, they told us that work hard, get an education, be respectful, follow the rules. And they say that if you just do that, you will make it. Well, guess what? We did as they said. We rose, we excelled, we beat a system that was never meant for us. We beat the system that has been always against us. And now we are whining. Now it's a problem. They never said anything about white privilege because we didn't talk about that. When white kids were getting a legacy admission into Ivy League schools, when they inherited land, wealth, and powerful last names, that wasn't privilege. But if a black lady gets a scholarship or a black man lands a tech job, suddenly it's just a scandal. It's a black privilege. They are getting it because they are black, because they talk about race. Name it, all of those. That's the video I'm gonna talk about. I have featured a number of videos. I want you to watch this. People talking about the black privilege, and then I will come back as always and comment about this. Don't worry about my voice because I shouted too much, but I'm okay. Let's go into the clips and then I'll come back.
I thought they were so oppressed. If they're so oppressed, then how can they get on this app and spout racism openly and it be celebrated and praised by the people that they actually hate? Doesn't sound like they're so oppressed to me. Let a white person come on here and do this about black people. What do you think will happen? They'll find their home address, their work address, their spouse, their children, their dog's name. They would completely ruin that person's life. This is called fake oppression and black privilege. There is no white privilege anymore. White privilege has been dead and gone for a long time. It's black privilege now. This is proof. But we're tired of it. And I don't think this is going to be going on for much longer. There's a culture shift happening here in America. Thank you, Donald Trump.
The most dangerous motherfuckers in America are white men with anger issues. Who leads in domestic violence? Armed robbery? Blue-collar theft? White-collar theft? Who is it that keeps arsenals and just can't wait to take some people off the census? Who? Who is it that will literally take their weapons out to dinner like it's their little girlfriend? Who has made owning a weapon the only fucking thing that matters at all? The same fucking people we all have to run in terror of. Oh shit, he's mad and he got him a gun. Let me go over here on the other side. You can't be serious right now. There's no fucking way in hell you can be serious. Really? It is white men. Every time, all the time, 24/7, 365. America cannot progress any further than it is because some white men can't keep the fuck up. And y'all cross every goddamn demographic. Every demographic. Even gay white men. There, I said it. I said it. I ain't regretting it. Ain't taking it back either. Our foreign policy shaped by white men. Our interactions around the world shaped by white men. Every time we have, hey, look, we might be progressing further. Wait a minute, white men don't feel good. Let me go back over here. Who is it that continually votes against their own best interests, election after election, off year on year, presidential, congressional, all the time? Who is it? White men. Y'all are danger to white women, white children, white elderly, white gays, white days. You are a detriment to blacks and browns, and Native and Indigenous and Asian and Pacific Islander and Jews. Y'all are a detriment, a danger. You want to have this conversation? Then let's have it. Let's have it. The biggest threats in America are men that look like you. Who never holds up their end of the bargain? Who is it that will center themselves in every fucking thing? Who is it that is freely, they will freely be racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, transphobic, and ableist, but But the moment somebody talks about them, all of a sudden they start crying and shit. Who is it? White men. You own every goddamn thing. You've been in power since the founding of the fucking republic, and you still can't stop bitching. How many towns, how many black towns no longer exist because of white men? A white woman got Emmett Till killed, but it was two white men that did it and bragged about it. Who is it that routinely wants to go back to Father Knows Best, featuring white men? Who is it that elected that jackass twice? Who is the overwhelming majority of people that elected that fucking jackass twice? The same detrimental motherfuckers that always seem to want to have their shit centered. Center me! White men. White men. Always, every time, all the time. So you want to go there? Then let's go there. I got a picture for you. Sitting here talking shit. While you over here talking shit, make sure you remember, we're not the ones that everything has to be catered to. Show ignorant ass. Thin-skinned motherfucker.
Black privilege is getting worse by the year.
I've been saying it for the dawn of time. Idaho has some pretty screwed up men. I'm going to say some things that are algorithm friendly. So you got to read between the lines. This guy is poorly educated. Why? Because most of Idaho is poorly educated. The schools are underfunded. Like what? What is... Idaho is ranked 36 in education. It's not the worst. It's not the best. Idaho also barely has any diversity. Anyone that is not white, and it kind of shows. It definitely shows. I lived in northern Idaho. This guy's looks like a copycat rendering of the men that I would make sure that I put my hand over a woman's drink if he was around. Let's just say that. They're not the smartest. They're not the most secure. They definitely show that they have a special hood in their closet that's pointy, that has eyes. Super uneducated, living in a bubble, doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. Doesn't, because all what he watches is Fox News, and he thinks that the one half black person that's the only black person around in like a 30-mile radius excuses him from saying the most audacious stuff. Usually I would filter this thing with like so many words, but I want to try to get this out there. This is a prime example of why I absolutely threw myself at, the chance of moving out of Idaho. I hated Idaho. I lived there for 13 years in northern Idaho, and that place is nothing but an echo chamber filled with men that just look like me, but are that wear a red hat. That's all what they are. I mean, they also have white hoods and white hoods and white robes. Like, guys, this is like, he's either doing satire or rage bait. But the fact that he's from Idaho, I know exactly what he's like. I've dealt with that many times. I've gotten in fights, physical fights, and with like verbal fights with those kind of men. So, I mean, do what you will with that account. I'll probably laugh at him. I don't know what you want to do, but guys, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You want to know a prime example of a deplorable? There you go.
So another question that I get as an ex-Trump supporter, ex-conservative, is, Danny, what made you change? And I wish I could say that there was this burning bush moment or this aha moment, but in reality, it was a culmination of things, seeds that were planted, and then finally it just clicked. I would need to write a whole book to explain my life's journey, but for the sake of time in this video, I'll do a quick synopsis. So I went from college to professional baseball to 10 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. And while in prison, I met a man by the name of Rashawn Clark. Rashawn was 16 when he was sentenced to prison for 20 years. I, on the other hand, had been to prison, home, back to prison for a total of 14 felonies and a total sentence of 10 years. Now, Rashawn was a black Muslim and I was a white Christian conservative. And this was at the height of the Black Lives Matters movement and when Trump was campaigning for president. And in typical conservative fashion, I would run around telling all the black guys in prison that Trump would be the best thing for them, that Trump is the best thing for the black community. And I would be met with resistance. Trump doesn't care about us. Trump does not care about the black community. He's a self-serving billionaire who cares about no one but himself. And I would tell Rashawn that we can't blame anybody but ourselves for why we are in prison. These are the consequences to our actions. Stop being the victim and accept accountability for our choices. And what Rashawn said next was probably the first seed that was planted that ultimately started me on this journey. He said, when you got sentenced to prison, the judge looked at you as the all-American boy who just lost his way, needed some mental health and substance abuse help, but they seen you as being redeemable. He said, I, on the other hand, at the age of 16, was sentenced to 20 years. They looked at me as a thug, a savage, a predator, and my life was not worthy of redemption. In spite of the Department of Justice, juvenile justice, recommending that he get a program, they sentenced him to 20 years in prison instead as a juvenile. And Rashawn would always say to me, DC, you underestimate me. And he was right. Because in my arrogance, I looked at myself as the smartest person in the room. I'm in prison, I'm college educated. Most of these people in here don't even have a GED. So Rashawn recommended that I read Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. And after I read it, a light bulb went off, my life was forever changed, and that's what started me on this movement. And this is what I learned, and I saw it with my own two eyes. So in the United States of America, the 13th Amendment said the abolishment of slavery except when punishment for a crime. Before this time period, the only people that went to prison were white vagabonds, outcasts, poor white people. But slave labor was such an integral part of the Southern economy that without it, the economy would collapse. So they needed new slave labor. That's why they started the mass incarceration prison boom. Fast forward 100 years, you had Jim Crow segregation, where black people were relegated to second-class citizenship. They were still seen as subhuman. Black Americans faced disenfranchisement from voting. They had to pay a poll tax. They had to pass literacy exams, but nobody wanted to educate them. And they were robbed of their generational wealth. Black Americans also faced barriers to education, to employment, and to housing. They could literally be discriminated against based on their skin color, based on their race. Then we passed the 1964 Civil Rights Act, 1965 Voting Rights Act, which says we can no longer discriminate based on skin color or based on race. So in 2024, what's the only group of people that we can still legally discriminate against? That we can deny housing, that we can deny jobs, that we can deny access to education? If you answered correctly, it's convicted felons. Now, do you think it's a coincidence that 1 in 3 black males carry a convicted felon label? 1 in 6 Latino males and 1 in 17 white males. So either I think it's a coincidence or I think black people are inherently evil with the proclivity to commit crime. And I couldn't go for that. So I did more research and I found out that Nixon and Reagan created the war on drugs. I see that we created the school to prison pipeline. We defunded education while militarizing the police, which patrols predominantly the black community. Then we coined terms like super predator and black on black crime. And once again, right here in the United States of America, we were spinning a narrative that made black Americans seem subhuman. And in my humble opinion, our criminal justice system is the epicenter of systemic racism in the US. It's because it's where we can just label somebody a criminal and justify our inhumanity towards that person. And as Rashawn said, there's a two-tiered justice system in America, and we're seeing it now more than ever. One for wealthy white billionaires like Trump, who can walk the streets with 34 felony convictions. while being liable for an essay of E. Jean Carroll. And then there's one for people like Rashawn, who spent 20 years of his life behind that fence. But it's impossible to get to this level of understanding without actually putting in the work. And this is why I encourage so many white Americans to actually just do the work. This country is not going backwards. We are not going back. It's only forward from here. I live in an ultra-conservative, Trump-loving MAGA community. And I talk about white privilege in our community a lot. And a lot of times I get pushback. People are like, well, I grew up poor. How do I have privilege? I come from a working class family. How do I have more of an advantage than other demographics of people? Well, I'm going to give you an example of another way that it's manifested, in which I used as a learning opportunity. So one of my close friends has a son who is, young, 16, and just started driving. Well, he gets in-school suspension. He's supposed to be in school suspension, but instead he skips out. He gets pulled over while he's driving for doing some pretty reckless stuff that sometimes many kids do, but could get somebody hurt or even himself hurt, or in this situation, pulled over. They were throwing firecracker poppers out the window. Cop sees him, pulls him over. Well, when the cop pulls him over, he happens to know his dad, which is also my good friend. Now, rather than ticketing the kid or taking him to jail for, reckless endangerment, he calls my friend, who is his dad, and tells him exactly what his son is doing. Lets the kid off with a warning. My friend disciplines him at home. But this is what I told him about privilege and how connections matter. Representation matters. Now, when that police officer pulled your son over, he knew your son. He also seen his own son in your son. And he knew that getting him in trouble, ticketing him, taking him to jail could do irreversible harm to his life. Which is good. It's a teachable moment. But the reality is that the vast majority of white people in my community are more likely to know cops, politicians, people in positions of authority or power, whereas many of the other marginalized kids may not have that same representation and get the same grace. They get pulled over and they may be seen as inherently evil or criminal, and they very well could have an entirely different outcome. Now, I know these are hypotheticals, but what if it was a young black kid who's scared of that cop? And while he's scared, he chooses not to talk to him or speaks to him in a manner in which that cop deems disrespectful. He may not get that same outcome. And this is just a reality of how privilege can show up in our lives. And it has nothing to do with how much or how little money that you have. And again, I don't believe in evening the scoreboard. I don't believe in giving the white kids harsher penalties now because of this. Just recognize it and do better.
Welcome back. Now, you have heard the videos about black privilege. Even some black people are talking about black privilege. And I'm like, when white privilege was booming, when white privilege is everywhere, no one is complaining, no one is talking about it. But suddenly black people having getting better, it's becoming a privilege. Let me break this down for those who are not getting my point. When they say black privilege, this is what they really mean. They are mad that they can't be casual racist anymore. They are mad because they have to actually compete now. They are mad because that we are no longer invisible. We are seen, and they hear it. It's very true. Don't ask who are they, because you know that. When we show up in places they thought that are reserved for them, they feel threatened. Right now, black people are entering rooms that were not meant for them, taking positions that were not made for them, in job opportunities that were not made for them. But here's the kicker. We are not asking for handout anymore. We are just taking the rightful place. And that shakes the world. When I say the rightful place, I always say that black people are the blueprint of the world. Black people are the origin of human being. It's just taking back what belonged to us. For those who read the Bible, when we talk about the Israelites, when they went to Canaan, they were just taking back what has always belonged to them. So it is something like that. I love to use the example of this guy called George Floyd, because when George Floyd died, it was so popular, and that's where I started noticing about what's going on about black Americans, our brothers, because I was just growing up mentally. I was just growing up. After George Floyd murder, they panicked because companies put out Black Lives Matter statements. They hired DEI officers. They cut checks. They posted black squares on Instagram. But a year later, all that energy disappeared. Budgets slashed. Black excess laid off. Diversities initiative and equalities shelved. And when we asked what happened, they act like we are asking for too much inclusion, too much fairness, and they never question about the white mediocrity. Right now, Donald Trump has scrapped the DEI. No more diversity initiatives and inclusivity. No more. What they think is that we get too much, but they always question the black success. When black guy or black man or black lady is successful, they question that. And that's not about privilege. That's about control, because right now black people are in control. We are shifting power, and it's something that it is happening. It is happening. So let's tell the truth here. They are not angry to us because we are unqualified. They are angry to us because we are excelling, we are confident, unapologetic, unbothered. And for the first time, they are not the only ones whining, and that terrifies them. Why? Because they know what they did to us, and they know what they have been doing to us. The system have been against us, and they know about this. And one thing I sure that they know is because right now they are trying to whitewash the history, scraping down the history. Why? Because they know that exactly we are the big deal, and they have been against this big deal. They know how the system was built. And deep down, they are scared that we will rise to a place where we can say never again. Let me go to culture, because we have something we call culture wars right now. And black culture is a global culture. Black culture, it is giving them sleepless night. From slang to style, from hip-hop to Hollywood. And we set the tone. They have started calling us the entertainers of the world, that we are just the entertainers. They copy us on TikTok. They sell our style, our fashion nova. They use our slang in the boardrooms, but they never give credit. And when we ask for what's ours, they say that we are being divisive. No, we are just finally refusing to be erased. And we don't want permission. We want ownership. And when we ask for that, they scream black privilege, black privilege, black privilege. Let's get into numbers. Black women are now the most educated group in America. More black men are enrolling in college, graduating, becoming doctors, engineers, lawyers. But it's not just we are becoming now. We have been the engineers since. It's just the history wasn't right on us. We have been there. The great doctors, the great medicine men, the great scientists, black people. When we walk into those spaces of lawyers, engineers, we are still met with suspicion as black people. Did you get in because you are black? Those are the questions they are asking. He got here because he's black. They gave him away because he's black. Why are you being suspicious about this? Why? Was it affirmative action? No, it was affirmative effort. We worked for this, and when we finally earn our place, they try to delegitimize it. When we earn our place, they try to put it as it was a black thing favor. Deep down, they can't believe that we have risen this far. Deep down, they can't believe that black people now are getting into places, are getting into offices that they are truly nice for them or were meant for them. Just like it's happening in South Africa. White people, the white South African are not accepting or they are not believing that black South Africans now are raising up, taking political powers, economic shifts, power is shifting, they are taking back lands. They can't believe that. You know? So here is what really scares them. The one thing that scares them is the black unity, because black unity is power. Black unity, it is scaring the hell out of them. We are no longer waiting for them to open doors. We are building our own doors. We are owning business, black-owned business, black banks, black investment groups, and we are buying black, hiring black, loving black, from Brooklyn to Nairobi, Atlanta to Accra, all the way to Cape Town from Chicago. Jamaican land, Caribbean lands. We are uniting, and that's what they fear. Recently, we have been showing our unity so much. That's what they fear. Because once we stop fighting each other and start fighting for each other, it's game over. Someone always say, game over. Yes. Right now, the diaspora war is going to an end. We are ending it every now and then, and that's why every day I preach this thing that called unity. I believe in black unity. I believe unity is power. I believe when we are united, that's the end of the game. I believe the power will shift when we get united. You know? So this one is not a privilege. It's power. It's power. Let me make this plain. Black privilege is a myth. You know? Black privilege is just a myth, a narrative to continue corroding the minds of black people. What they see isn't privilege. It is survival, man. Black people have been surviving for years. Let's just talk the truth. This is not privilege. It is survival mode. It is strength. It is success against the odds. Where they think we can't pass, we are passing. Yeah? We weren't handed anything, like we weren't given the house ownership, no, we're just living in poverty, but we have made everything by ourselves. We have built everything, and now they were standing tall and they can't handle it. They are just standing on the fences and seeing what we are building. Guess what? We are not shrinking. We ain't shrinking anytime soon, and we ain't apologizing, and we ain't slowing down. We are going strong and stronger every day. Stronger and stronger. And let me tell you, once we unite, game over. Once black people, black Americans, Caribbeans, we unite, it is game over. It is game over. And that's where we are going right now. I'm so happy that black people right now are trying to talk one language. And they will call it privilege every day. Right now, some are supporting what's happening in South Africa. We are not supporting any genocide. We are not doing it with violence. And that's why I'm saying black people deciding not to protest, it's very nice. Because we are not answering anything with violence anymore. Because they always scared to us with the violence. You are violent. But right now, black people, we are not going into a violent moment anymore. Okay? So let's remind them, black people are so privileged these days. When you hear someone saying that black people are so privileged these days, let's remind them that we earned this, and we fought for this, and we bled for this. Our ancestors died for this. And if that makes some of people comfortable, please, let just them be uncomfortable. We can't handle it. We can't handle our pride. Man, black men, black women, we can't handle it. And I love black Americans, how you have been fighting for everyone. Yo, I love it. The foundational black people, the FBS, love you. Caribbeans love you. Because you have been out away from motherland, but you are still holding your head high. So it is the future. It is the future. The power is shifting. Okay? If you love this video, like, share, and subscribe, and stay proud of yourself. We are just getting started. No violence, just quiet moment, quiet movement, silent movement. Until next episode, peace out.